Hello, WOT Blitzers. It's Littlefinger. Happy Friday, July 7th. That means it's time for another store review. And there's one item particular that made me want to do this video. Hey, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Really helps me support the channel. Got a lot going on, but we're really just going to focus on the store. Try to make this as quick as possible today. So new tank in the stores, the TS-60. This is an American tank destroyer, 7 degrees of gun depression with a rear-mounted turret. Armored does not look that great based upon what I saw in Blitz stars. Also, 28 kilometers per hour top speed, I believe, is what I saw. And 7 degrees of gun depression, 29 degrees. Think Ferdinand if you've got that tank in your arsenal. As far as a tank with similar speed to this in the TD realm, it is in crates. So 10,000 gold for 5 crates or 15,000 for 10 crates, 5% drop chance, and 30 charms will guarantee you the tank, which means you'd have to spend 45,000 gold. Certainly not worth the gamble in any way. You can also buy the tank here on this side, $6 for 1 crate. Same deal here. You can see here 5% on the drop chance, but this is going to get you some K coins. I just would not, until we know more about this tank, is certainly not worth a gambling on. There's a draw going on again. This, I can't remember the exact numbers, but is going to be upwards of 17,500 gold if you draw the tank last, which is a high probability. It starts out here at 30 gold. Each time you play, it gets higher and higher, and one of these gets taken off of the board based upon the drop chance. And you can see off the bat, 0.08% chance of getting that for 30 gold. So the numbers do increase pretty quickly, and I do believe it was around 17,500. Somebody in comments, if you know that exact number, it would be wonderful if you could let me know. But anyway, about the tank, I have actually been playing this a good bit lately. I do have it from a previous sale. So this is an American heavy tank. It's got a very low profile, which is fairly unique, especially when you get up to some of the bigger tanks and you're side hugging them and they are struggling to find a place to pen. It's also got really nice strong turret armor as well. The cupola, commander's hatch, whatever you want to call it, can be a little bit of a weak spot. 400 average damage, so it's got a nice big alpha number on it. Pen's pretty good, movement's pretty good. You know, it just fits into that American heavy play style of a tank. But again, I would refrain from spending that much on this tank. Moving on to the one that I wanted to talk about. You've heard me talk about the Shark many times before. This is one of my go-to tanks for ratings, battles. It, again, with the American playstyle, it does everything really well. Movement's good, pen's good, accuracy's pretty good, and it's got some nice armor on it as well. The downside here with this tank, 310 average damage, 2100 damage per minute. You know, you kind of have to frontline in this tank, I feel like, so that does tend to cause some problems if your team fails to support you in it. Now, what makes this deal pretty good, it's not a great deal, is the T-77. And this tank has quickly become one of my most favorite tier 8 heavy tanks. With its auto loader, damage per minute is a little bit below the Shark, but you can see here 2 shells there at 2.5 seconds per shell, 380 average damage. So 860 or 760 damage in 2.5 seconds. You can then pull back and wait your 19 seconds for your reload. And then this has got kind of like the T-57 turret on it, which in some instances looks like it can be penned, but you know, when you get shot at, you'll be surprised at how many ricochets you get off of this armor. Movement on it is pretty good there at 35 kilometers per hour and 10 degrees of gun depression, so it's got a lot working for it. And when you can unload a full clip into somebody and repeat that several times throughout a game, you're going to end up with some pretty big numbers in this tank. So again, turning into one of my favorite. And so you get that, plus you get the camos and the all of the equipment slots unlocked for 12,500. I feel like that's actually a pretty good deal. Yes, you can buy these down below. I think they're selling individually for 8,500, in which case I might suggest just the T77 there. I'm not going to talk about Battle Pass at all. We've got the T26E5, only 5,500. It comes with the Sheriff camouflage. And the nice thing about this here is that you're going to get 25 5X boosters. Remember, guys, play these boosters on tanks that you're grinding. So you had to purchase this and put this tank away for 25 battles. But to me, the tank, again, American playstyle plays pretty well, but I don't think it really competes with the Shark. You know, it is definitely a step below as far as ability on the battlefield there. 10 degrees of gun depression, 40 kilometers per hour. So the armor is just not as strong as that on the Shark. So just keep that in mind with this tank. But again, with what you get for this tank, 30 days of premium time, half the million silver there. This is quite a nice deal for the tank itself. Concept 1B here, 25,000 gold. This is expensive. This is expensive. You know, this tank has not been for sale very many times. I believe it was maybe a Christmas snow globe tank originally, and it just has not been for sale. But as you can see from the profile on it, there's not much that you can pen on the turret. So if you can get this thing hull down, it is a very strong tank. But the second you start to turn an angle, the turret there, it does become pennable. And I believe 45 kilometers per hour top speed is not bad. 10 degrees of gun depression here, and 2,700 damage per minute at tier 10. But I am not recommending that for 25,000 gold. Just remember, you know, 15,000, 17.5 is typically where we see some of the better tier 10s stay at. So that is still significantly higher there. The Object 752 Stargazer, another really nice tank, but it is tier 9 Soviet heavy tank. It's got some really interesting armor profile to it. This is another 2 shell magazine, but 4 seconds. So you can see the difference there. 2.5 seconds to be able to get 2 shots off is a lot easier than waiting for 4 seconds. Granted, reload time is only 16.7. But again, this is quite a nice tank for tier 9, but the price still, in my opinion, pretty darn high. So I would stay away from that for now. Just quickly scrolling through, like I said, I wanted to try to make this as quick of a review as possible. So we already talked about all of these tanks. Here are the tanks. Just stripped down, nothing with them, 8,500. So you can see how good of a deal this is with those combined together. So quite honestly, I would put those as 2 must-own tanks. And if you do get them, I'd love to hear your comments after playing them for a little bit as to what you think about them. So another kind of platoon here with the ISU 130. Kind of enjoyed this as a tank destroyer here. One of the things that you will notice is your premium round does more damage with less pen, which is not that typical. So if you add this together, you're getting up almost 3,000 damage per minute with the premium ammo here. It has pretty good movement and mobility. is, you know, a little limited with the turret there being a fixed turret. It's interesting. I hadn't really ever noticed this before, the gun turn limit, 2 to the left and 10 to the right. I don't think I'd ever noticed that in game. That's kind of interesting. And 6 degrees of gun depression, 43 kilometers per hour as a top speed. And then they throw in the T-44-85, just your typical Soviet medium playstyle tank. Nothing super great to write home about on this one. To me, this is kind of just the throw in to get a little bit of extra value on the ISU. I don't think you'll be playing the T-44-85 a whole lot. So really, if you like the TD playstyle, you know, and then when we consider 7,500, it's a little bit on the high side. You know, it's not a great deal, but you are getting those 2 tanks. So, like I said, wanted to make that quick. Hope you guys had a wonderful July 4th and are grinding out the wins for this event here, the Fiery Skies event. Looks like we've got Burning Games and a new Gravitizing game coming out in about 12 days. So that'll be interesting to see what that's all about. But with that, guys, I'm going to end the store review here. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And, of course, get educated, not fingered. Littlefinger out.